Okay, the channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play Apocalypse Keys.
Apocalypse keys.
We should say, welcome to the apocalypse on so many levels. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I am the keeper of doors for this game of Apocalypse Keys, in which um, powerful monsters who could end the world decide not to for a while, but now that means they have to help stop other monsters from ending the world. Our players tonight, Millie Katie as Lady Dana,
This evening has been brought to you by Hot Tea.
Jason Banks as Myron,
Hello, hello.
David Archambault as Pandorum,
Why does it feel like time's been frozen for
Weeks.
an unknown amount of time?
Very meta.
uh, Nobilis as John Deere,
This evening brought to you by Holiday Beer.
and Paul Weimer as Ningle.
Now that the turkey has been consumed, it's time for you to watch Division take on Kaiju on a mysterious island featuring me, Ningo.
So, as mentioned, we have got a simple problem of a missing kaiju. But, you
One of
know,
our
that's
kaijus
why.
is missing.
Yes. So what we have, the monstrous agents of Division have been dispatched to an island known as Island Zero, which has an outpost of the agency known as Mysterious, which is sort of a sister agency to your own division. And you have heard that one of the things. So basically, what happens here is that there is a dimensional rift. Giant monsters sometimes come through it. Some of those giant monsters are enough in favor of humanity that they allow teenagers to psychically connect to them and pilot them to fight the bad giant monsters coming out of the rift. So the rift monsters are the bad ones. When they are willing to psychically connect with human pilots, they're known as Halamaw class monsters. And there's a whole base and organization designed to help these teenage pilots succeed in their mission to fight off other giant monsters without getting too traumatized in the process. It's a tricky balance. But you have discovered that one of the pilots, named Luna, where's my details here? I've lost. Oh, okay, sorry, I have too many different windows open. Luna Nekahara, and her Halamaw class monster gave a message that indicated signs of possession, and then both pilot and monster seemed to just disappear out of their pods mysteriously. So you've showed up to try to help solve this mystery. Your main contact here is Fletcher Payne, who I'm showing our characters' art here on the screen at the moment. The leftmost character, Fletcher Payne, is a former pilot himself, now runs the outpost. You also have encountered briefly one of the scientists who run this station, Kaya Rosario, who also has a strange sort of mutation wherein there is a whole bunch of her because new copies of her keep coming out of the rift periodically, but they all work as division scientists. There are also a number of pilots and other personnel here, including Malika Connor, Asterio Romano, and Catalina Lee are active pilots. Natasha Zamora kind of, is like sort of a pilot handler. She's not a pilot herself, but kind of manages to try to, maintain morale and control with them. And
He's their Sarge.
hmm?
she's their Sarge.
Oh, yes.
Is how you
Yes.
described it.
Mm-hmm. And then Celine Nakahara is Luna's sister, the missing pilot's sister, who's not a pilot herself, but also helps with some of the magical protections here at the island. And one of the things that you discovered last time before we left was you uncovered your very first key. I'll put us back on the mystery map. Oops. Is that there is evidence of sabotage. The pods where the pilots reside while they are psychically connected to the Halima monsters showed evidence that someone had deliberately tampered with the equipment prior to Luna's disappearance. So everyone had kind of split up to go talk to various people. Is there anything else we wanted to recap before we just jump back in? I know it's been a little while, so it's fine if we want to kind of recover some ground.
We did discover one thing, that Sarge was once a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And upon reviewing the last thing, I realized the description given as to what's going on with her eye was very close to the description of what happens when you age out of the pilot program.
Well, it's what happens when you age out of the pilot program is that you are frequently receive some kind of a mutation, which can vary quite a bit. For example, the scientist who's keeps getting clones of herself, that is hers, for example. But Sarge's strange eye does seem to be somewhat similar to Fletcher's deal. It seems possible there's a connection.
Yep.
So, anyone else want to recover anything? Or perhaps we could start with John Deere going to look into the electronic records in the data center?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
I may be able to put something together that can access data that their systems have lost access
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to. Because as I understand that the sensors for the time period that they were that this event happened were erased or something.
Well,
So-
it's that something prevented them. They lost signal
Right.
during the crucial moment. Something interfered with what they were the recordings. So it's not so much they think that it was deleted after the fact, so much as something prevented the sensors from capturing it in the way that they should have.
So what I'm going to attempt to do is summon up some magic techno gear and analyze the record to find out what it was that interfered with their signals.
Okay. Well, so let's. I think you are assigned Kayla number 18, who escorts you to. Perhaps she just says, "So I feel like I'm not sure entirely. I understand what it is that you're wanting to do. Do you want the server room or the control room or what? How can I best help whatever it is you're actually trying to do?"
I would like to look at whatever logs you have
Mm-hmm.
from the time that this happened.
Okay.
And
We typically
so-
review those things and view them from the control room, but they are stored down in the server room.
let's remove any intervening steps that we can remove. So if it's stored in the server room, let's go there.
Okay. And so she takes you down several levels, and the main bay of this enormous facility has a whole. Here, sorry, I'm putting on my. There we go. There is an enormous hangar where all of these vats full of liquid are. And this is nutrient liquid where the Halima, when not actively out on a mission, sort of sleep in those vats. And they're alongside this big open hangar. There's various levels of catwalk and other office facilities. And so you're going down several levels while still in that main space. And so seeing the lower and lower portions of that region, but then eventually takes you into and through a couple of laboratories where a variety of experiments seem to be currently being undertaken by other copies of Cayo Rosario. There you see various like bits and pieces of what might presumably be giant monster pieces. There's other sorts of computer simulations going on, but you are eventually taken to what is a fairly standard looking server room, if a bit fancier and more secure than most. But she gets you through the security fairly easy with her badge and waves you on through. And there is a smaller workstation that doesn't have the great big screens that they do in the control room. But she says, yeah, so this ought to be able to let you view anything you need to, and it has access. But it is sort of a secondary control position that is primarily intended to be for either maintenance or, in the case of an emergency, if the control room has been damaged.
Seems prudent. All right. So John pulls out his tablet and begins summoning up pieces of equipment to connect to these servers. They extend cables and connectors and things, and begin analyzing the contents, and John summons himself a nice comfy office chair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no such thing as a comfortable office chair. Let's say a comfy gamer chair.
Sure.
Starts looking through, basically looking for, signatures, data in the thing that would indicate, would kind of point towards the cause of this signal loss. Was it, a burst of electromagnetic radiation that knocked everything offline, et cetera, et cetera? There should be data in there that can provide some clues, and maybe even a location of origin. That's the kind of thing he's looking for.
Okay. So are you looking for like a death walked here move, or just a more general using your powers?
I'm going to grasp keys,
Okay.
unless that's not relevant.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So just digging into the.
Okay, I am intending to spend 2 tokens. Let's see if that
Okay.
actually happens with what I'm clicking here, because it's not entirely.
It looks like it did add it just right, and that's a
Okay.
10 with a perfect hit.
Okay.
Good thing got that result with the tokens added.
Well, it would have been a perfect hit without the tokens, but
Well,
yeah.
right, but the point being that if it had been a 10 without having added the tokens, then adding them would be 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so grasp keys when you that's the wrong page. On a 8 to 10, you uncover a key. The keeper will tell you what it is. So you are specifically looking to try to nail down what is the reason that the sensors all failed in that moment.
Basically, yeah. That's what I'm looking. I'm looking for information about why they failed, or how they failed, that kind of thing.
Okay. So let's see. I think the key that you find.
And
Uh,
we could use being on the mystery map page too.
oh yeah, okay, I'll put you over there. So the irony here is that a lot of the keys that it suggests in here are not like you find a thing in a computer and then sort of technically both of the attempts to grasp keys so far have been like, I want to intuit something from the general situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is okay, but it just means that I'm having to think how which of these things can I contextualize appropriately here. I think that there is interesting. Okay, I think what there is you find that there is some kind of an algorithm that has been running through the system and seems to have been both retroactively and proactively trying to remove evidence of something. And it seems to have activated in this moment to disable the sensors as part of a general program to erase all information about something. And the only thing that you can sort of piece together about the way it functions, because it's a very elusive little I don't know what, it's not a virus, but like what's a worm? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a very elusive little programming worm that seems to have been perhaps magically enhanced in some way.
Okay.
It seems like what it's trying to do is erase and or block any evidence about a specific pilot. But that pilot name is not it's not in the dossier. It's not a name that you are aware of or familiar with.
Okay. Does it give me that name? Can I extract that?
It doesn't have. So I guess here's what it is that you don't have the name, but what you have is the way that it works. First of all, just from a camera perspective, the way you're currently having your camera is that we don't see your face at all when you're looking at
I'm
this.
so sorry.
That's okay.
There,
When we look at the screen, you're looking at the screen, we are seeing your ear. That's all right.
Sorry.
So it's better.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah.
No worries. So in any case, what you are seeing is not the name, but that the entire dossier that you have been given and all the pilots that you've heard about, by virtue of their presence in the database, are not being affected by this worm. And that it's suggesting that there is there is a worm that is designed to erase all evidence of a pilot that, according to the rest of the database, doesn't exist, and that's presumably because the worm did its job very well. But
Right.
it means that it suggests that there was at one point a pilot that had records, and this worm is designed to erase them all. But that even though there are records of Luna, the pilot who disappeared, for some reason, the worm decided that those moments
Okay.
needed to be
Okay.
blocked because.
Right. Okay.
And so
Gotcha.
you don't know what the connection is, but the worm that seems to have been designed to eliminate all evidence of a pilot
Right.
activated then, even though it has not deleted other records from Luna.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that is the key there. And I think you've got your scientist friend right here. Would you? I mean, I would assume unless you have asked her to stay back, she would be
No,
watching what you're
yeah.
doing.
I am definitely interested
Hmm.
in um so so uh, according to my what I've discovered here, one pilot who was in this program has been erased from all these records.
Well, that seems
So,
impossible, but I see what you're seeing here. Here, let's pull up the list, and you go to
right,
the list of all of the pilots
who were
on
in the
record,
database, yeah.
and it's not a long list, right? It's
Okay.
certainly longer than the currently active list, but
Right.
it's
This
like
program hasn't been going on for that
right,
long.
it's like 25 people total in since
Yeah,
the program started.
right.
And she's looking through the list and just saying, "Well, I mean, I see the same evidence of this worm that you're talking about, but I I mean, I'm looking at that list. I don't see anyone missing. This
Hmm.
um is it
Okay.
possible that it was I don't know. I mean, it's a very sophisticated worm. Was it designed to prevent us knowing about some future person, or I don't understand because I'm looking at the list. I don't see anybody missing.
Well, the next thing I would be worried about is whether your memories have been tampered with. Um, because if they because the way to double check the computer would be to ask people.
Mhm.
And if you think people have been tampered with, that the way to check that would be to check the computer. But
Mhm.
if both this is like you can't delete data, you can't destroy data completely without getting to offline backups. And so the humans are like the offline backup. So if I would start to wonder whether the personnel have been similarly attacked, do you have any gaps in your memory?
I I mean, not that I can think of, but that's kind of the trick,
Okay.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Well,
like losing time or anything like
right.
that.
That's what I was interested in, if you'd
I
lost
don't
time.
have identical memories to all of my, my copies. We could certainly check, but I mean, certainly I
Hmm.
have my own personal memories from everyone going back to when I was originally a pilot, or rather, when
You're
Kylo
originally,
One
yes.
was a pilot. I do remember that. I just, once I came out, I stopped having memories of, the
Right.
you
Right.
it's complicated, right? But the point is, I could check
Hmm.
with them. We could check to see if anybody else remembers a pilot that's missing. But right now,
Uh,
we should have, we don't really
well,
keep hard copy backups of these things anymore. It's a security
okay.
protocol.
So two questions. First of all, who was the very first pilot? Who was the longest running pilot who's retired? Possibly someone who's not here.
Hmm.
So of all of these, we've got the list in front of us. We can probably pull up information. I'm looking for the quote unquote oldest in the sense of started the earliest,
Mm-hmm.
um, who is still alive, can be contacted, but is not here at this location.
Hmm.
Who
Let me.
like retired somewhere else.
Yeah. Let me.
So we're going to look for that. And second of all, I would like to maybe you know what? I'll talk to Sarge about this. You work on that. I'm going to go talk to Sarge about something we need to do. Okay.
Okay. So I guess they'll get started on that, but that's something
Yeah.
that will take a little while, and so
Yeah.
um, we get that moving. Some of yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think actually what I'll just go ahead and say is that Fletcher is the oldest living pilot, former pilot. So Commander Fletcher Payne, who's on site. But in the meantime, though, let's see. We had, I believe, Ningle, who is going to go see Luna's sister. And
Yes.
then I believe we had Pandorum was going to talk to Malika, one of the active pilots. And I believe that Myron had gone with them. Is that right, Myron? Or
Yes, because we checked the one place first before we split up again. So yeah, I went with them.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do that first. So the two of you are escorted to the exterior of what you're told is the training room, the simulation room, because that is where Malika has basically been since the whole incident, running through all sorts of difficult simulations. She's been working herself really hard, and I think you can see simultaneously on the screen. You can see image of this character, who I'll put us back on the people. Is this red-haired woman in the wheelchair? You can see her sitting in an elaborate sort of control chair, clearly like under strain, like concentrating, and occasionally sort of like, lurching from one side to another. But then you see on another screen what is apparently the simulation that she's experiencing, and you see an enormous kaiju with tentacles the size of redwood trees, wrapping around her sort of dark colored, bestial sort of Halama creature, and she is presumably controlling in that situation. But she seems busy, so I think the attendant that was told to bring you here just says, so here she is, and I think that it makes sense that you want to talk to her, but here's she yelled at me in kind of a scary way the last time I tried to interrupt her, so I'm a little worried that if I do it, she's just gonna not listen to me.
Let us
So
take care of it.
okay, so what I think that you're gonna find that if you just try to break her out of the simulation, it's probably going to be worse. But what we could do is, she's kind of looking back and forth between you. It's like, we could put you into the simulation and have you help her finish it.
That sounds like fun.
So we get to fight a giant monster.
Well, I mean simulated, but so here's part of what is a little bit tricky about the way we do our simulations here, is because it's actually, she is simulating the fight with the monster, but she really is psychically connecting to her Halama. So the Halama is also experiencing the simulation. Now, we do have unpaired Halama, and so what we can do is we can either put you in the simulation as yourselves, which, I mean, you'd be most familiar with your own abilities that way, but you would be your size fighting the big monster. But if you wanted, you could perhaps attempt to connect with one of the unpaired Halama for the simulation. What do you think?
Ningle? Or Myron? Sorry. Player mistake. Myron? your opinion on this?
Well, last time I was this close to a Halloran class monster, it didn't end so well. So, as much as I would love to ride the lightning, it's not. I don't think we would have a very good time with Mr. Payne if I did so. But I don't mind going to the simulation. So if you could
I
send
think-
me, you could send me in as myself.
Okay.
I think we should have a chance to impress her as ourselves.
All right. Well, so yeah, that's easier from our end and probably safer too. You know, just because like connecting to a Halamaz, you know, it's a whole thing, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, let's go ahead and let's give it a try then, shall we? And she opens a sort of an adjacent room that has two of more of those sort of simulation chairs in it, and she says, "I can patch you together into her simulation."
Okay, I get in a chair.
And so as you know, there, I think there's a helmet, which makes sense for Pandorum, but I want to know for Myron, what do you do with the helmet?
Glorp.
Yeah, Myron kind of looks at it. And he's like, "This is never fun," and he like sits down in the chair, and then you see him kind of like draw in on himself and become a literal stereotypical like blue little like a greenish bluish slime orb. And so it just like sits on his little slime body, like or head. And he's just
Uh,
like, and he's like, "Please do not tell anyone you saw me like this."
So you're
This is gonna
deliberately
be
sort
hard.
of are you saying that to Pandorum or to this attendant?
Yes, the attendant.
Okay, so the attendant had been seeing you as like a person, right?
Yeah.
And so having you transform like that is she just like is this is easier, I guess? Well, all right.
This
You know what?
is-
You know what? You know, you do you. It's great.
This is
It's
the way
great.
to do it.
All right.
Just
So they close you into this room, and I think it's a relatively like it's roomy for only having these two chairs in it, but it's otherwise you know, featureless white walls, and you're just sitting in the chair. But then you sort of feel the electronics of the helmets kick in, and suddenly you are standing on a beach of an island, very much like the one that you walked through from the boat here. But towering above you is a kaiju fight between this enormous tentacled creature and the beast that is Malika's Halama, which has a name which I will remind you of in just a moment. Garnet Cyclone is her her Halama. And it is fighting fiercely, but this is clearly, well, I guess you don't necessarily have perspective over if this is an especially difficult simulation or not, but you are impressed with the fierceness of Garnet Cyclone's fighting, but also that it seems to be, you know, matched by this enormous creature. It's a tough fight.
I look at Pandorum and once we're out inside of the simulation, I say, "Ningle's gonna be so jealous."
oh yes. So perhaps Pandorum is going to basically set up almost an accelerator tunnel. So it's like you first get you a little speed boost.
Ooh, is it? It's like I've never been shot out of a cannon before. It's always the first time.
Speed and jump.
And I'm like, and he's like, "Can you aim me towards the big tentacly thing?"
Of course. Yep, and it's aimed towards the towards
Okay.
the end.
Well, let's get a move to see how well you are able to accelerate Myron towards the tentacly thing.
Let's see. I think that would be power through darkness.
So power through darkness is that's kind of the
Pushing limits of the supernatural powers.
well, I mean, but then but unleash the dark is when you enforce your will on someone physically, socially, or emotionally with your
Okay.
powers, right?
Okay.
Power through darkness is when you're really pushing yourself to do something that normally would be harder to do even for you.
Okay.
So
Let's go.
I think so the thing is that move has higher stakes. There will be some times where I will require it to be that move, but it can go
Yeah.
worse. So
Okay.
I think Unleash the
I
Dark
will-
is the straightforward move.
I will give that a try.
Okay.
Perfect hit. Wow.
All right. So, what does it look like as Myron is launched at this creature?
So yeah. So the tunnel itself is basically a shimmering tube,
Mm-hmm.
and when Myron goes in, it he stretches out like stretches out like 5 times his usual length, and when he you know basically where it would take a second or 30 seconds to go through, it takes him 1 second, and he is snapped back into his normal shape and is flying at the
All right. So
That's
Right.
one heck of a fastball special.
I was going to say phase 1 of the fastball special has been done, but phase 2 relies on you, Myron. So you are now traveling at a very high velocity towards a towering building-sized tentacly thing that is currently grappling with an also building-sized shadow panther thing.
As Myron, hurdles through the air for it with the greatest of ease, it would seem, he just has a thought and says, sometimes I get to do the most amazing things in this job. And I will where is it? I want to take darkness. Where is it? Ah, crap. Can't find it. Scroll up. There we go. And I will gain darkness because I am feeling a bit scared that I was like, I wanted to be the projectile out of a weird supernatural metaphysics defining potato gun, but now as I am the potato, it's a bit rough.
Mm-hmm. It's
But
like
it's okay.
you realize for the first time that usually doesn't go well for the potato.
It doesn't. And so I will unleash the dark, and basically you'll see him like it's almost as if he shot a net out of this accelerator, and he just expands and engulfs. Actually, it's not going to be unleash the dark. It'll actually be get to play with this. I haven't done it yet, so I'll actually mark ruin and use when let sleeping gods lie. And so that you see him expand out, land on this tentacly monster's what looks like its head, and this almost eerie, terrible sound emits from me, and I kind of look. It almost looks like he shot like gack or slime at this thing.
Okay, one moment. I'm trying to pull up your move here.
Yeah.
This is the ruin move.
And
Let
yes.
sleeping gods lives. Because you you said it different. I couldn't find it. It's okay. So you marked one ruin and tick the dream ends once.
Yep, once.
All right.
And when I land on the head, it starts being
Mm-hmm.
horribly assaulted by by hallucinations and a
Mm-hmm.
terrible corruption.
Yeah. So I think that you so like this tentacly thing doesn't really have like a traditional face, but as your sort of spreading net sort of clings to it like some sort of like toxic burning plastic wrap, um it and it starts just like burning and bubbling and I don't know, is there like any sort of other manifestation of these hallucinations? Are there little like monsters or other like distortions?
Hmm. No, I will say they would look like, I would have them try to look like, they will look like small versions of her Halloran class creature.
Mm-hmm. Halima?
Ex Halima class creature,
Okay.
except they're like, it's like my head on it instead.
Mm-hmm.
They're like these weird, like terrible little nightmare fusion creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear Myron kind of say, "Sorry, I was very short on time on the design,
Okay. Well, so here's the
but I
rest of
can't
the.
control them though."
Yeah, I was just going to say the dreams cause horrifying hallucinations around you, and the vulnerable are infected by corrupting nightmares. You cannot control who is harmed or the nature of their corruption.
Nope.
Oops.
And I think what ends up happening here is it does seem to just start burning away vast swaths of this tentacle thing. However, the little creature parts of it that start emerging almost as though the net part is converting the mass of the tentacled creature into these horrible little like panther myrons that start running off of it and then running up the limbs of Garnet Cyclone, who starts thrashing back and forth. And you hear in your head, I think both you and Pandorum hear this, is like, what? What the fuck is this? Who is this? Who's interfering with my simulation? And she seems really mad, and all of a sudden, like Garnet Cyclone sort of like kicks off and sends the tentacled thing sort of like reeling back, and it looks like it's sort of reeling. It's gonna fall, and it looks like it's gonna fall right onto where you're standing, Pandorum.
Oh, okay. Then I would. Oh, I think I would go ahead and jump into my own cannon and shoot into it and through it, face through it to
Okay, okay,
on the
okay.
other side.
Yeah. So again, this is, I think, a fairly standard use of your powers. So
Okay.
let's get another, unleash the dark.
Okay.
And just a reminder for anyone that Myron did not have to roll for that because it was a ruin move. So
Yes.
the ruin move, you mark ruin instead of rolling.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 6. That's a miss.
Um,
So
let's see. It takes 2 to.
yeah, you'd have to get it to 8.
Okay. Let's see.
I mean, you could also
is-
just fail.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
just a simulation, also.
Yeah. You know what? Sure, why not? I'll take the mix. I'll take
Okay.
the mix.
I think you mistimed the phasing just enough that you find yourself stuck inside it as it sort of careens back down to crash onto the beach. You suddenly find yourself surrounded by darkness and horrible goo and weird contractions of strange musculature, like jolting you back and forth, and you're now inside this horrible creature. It's gross. I don't want to tell you what you do or do not like, but I wouldn't like it.
So Pandorum just, yeah, still in the phasing thing, just climbs through and in a in an odd scale version of the alien bursting out of the
Well, so
bursting out
I
of the-
think I think you mistimed it enough that you were stuck for the moment. So like I'm
Oh.
I'm not saying that you're going to be permanently stuck there. I'm just saying that like you missed that one up a little
Okay.
bit. So there's consequences.
Well,
Right.
eventually I'm going to
You're
do
working
an
on it.
off-
You're going to work on
Yeah.
it. You are right now finding that you are distracted by being squished by muscles and surrounded by goo and slime and darkness. And also apparently psychic screams of some kind. And in the meantime, Garnet Cyclone. So I think Myron, you are still the net, right? Like so you are like spread out on the thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think you have visibility as Garnet Cyclone, this enormous Shadow Panther thing, has sort of like after sort of flinging itself away, it landed on its paws, kind of skidding backward, just tearing up furrows in the jungle of this island, and then looking like growling and snarling as it runs to jump up and launching itself in a furious attack. And as it does, you're all hearing is like, I said no assists, and launching at the creature. And I think that she is going right for where you are, Myron, and Pandorum. You don't have any way to see what's happening, but you certainly hear that psychic message.
You know,
I could do something, but I'm gonna hold off because this isn't the time being a simulation at all.
you know, it sometimes recently we've just not had a lot of time to really be Omen class monsters. So why not? Let's see. Again, I will mark ruin because I do that a lot. And I'll use Crowned by Dream and Exalted by Nightmare, and I will summon a weapon of darkness. And it's just a large kind of amorphous, almost like a giant, like not cleaver, but like a large blunt object that kind of extends from one of my slimy appendages to literally block this kaiju as I form back into my person looking self and be like, we need to talk. I mean, we can continue doing this. I've never eaten a kaiju before, but I would love to try.
Okay, so I guess you are brandishing the weapon is the idea.
Yeah, and it's to stop it from landing on this thing that I am also attached to.
Okay.
Kind of like if I would, matter of fact, it would think of it as an extra limb for this creature
Mm-hmm.
to like hold up in front for when the wolf kind of like clamps down, maybe, which
Okay.
I'm assuming it's going to do.
Yeah. Well, I think what it's going to do is basically just like it's not going for the bite because they have just enough awareness to think weird weapon. Let's not maybe put it in the mouth. But they're going to basically go with a big, let's say a living room sized paw with extended claws is looking to just like tear you away from this this creature.
All right, I'll meet the blow, and I'm like, man, okay, so they are pretty strong. So if I'm not gonna go 100% on this thing, I probably should get her to stop. And I'll let's see. Now that I've got this moment, I'll
Yeah.
just be like, seriously though, like we just want to talk, and you can play video games for the rest of the evening. It's fine. I get it.
Yeah, way to ingratiate yourself there. Good job. Good job.
I mean, if you don't do something about it, she's gonna claw you off of this thing's face.
Yeah.
I mean, the claw is coming. You can say that while you either let it hit you or do something else.
I think I could take that. I'm not Ningle. I'm not that tough. Do I have something that won't kill this thing?
It's a simulation.
No, but she's actually psychically connected to this thing.
Well, but
Yeah.
it is also a
Oh, okay.
simulation, right? Like the
so-
the Halima is not really fighting. The Halima is also
Oh.
experiencing the simulation psychically.
Oh, then I'll absolutely be cruel, because
Mhm.
I took the impulse of, did I use the memories of someone to have a terrible advantage?
Okay.
And I'll use Man of 1,000 Faces.
Okay.
And I would like, since this creature is connected to its person, I would like to make it look like she's about to hit someone she really cares about.
Okay. And you're not like choosing someone. You're basically like you're just
Yeah,
sort of reaching out for part of their brain.
Yep, and whatever the most poignant vision of person, I'm not even directing it. I'm letting my powers do their thing.
Okay.
And I will use 3 darkness. Let's hope I don't overshoot. This might put someone as brain dead, probably.
Oh. Okay, so a perfect
Oh.
hit for
What?
Man of
Nice.
1,000 Faces. So, that is going to mean that the thoughts and memories come together in a song, and your form harmonizes with it. You can choose 2 of the items from the list there.
And so the shape and form is stable and lasts for as long as I concentrate on maintaining it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to gain the memories and thoughts of whomever I look like.
Okay. All right. I think you realize as you sort of harmonize and start feeling these thoughts and feelings that you have taken the form of the missing pilot, Luna.
Oh, wow.
So, for anyone watching, this enormous claw is coming in, and then all of a sudden you look like you're Luna standing there on the shoulder of this tentacle monster. And you watch as Garnet Cyclone suddenly like lurches back to avoid the blow and actually sort of just totally like eats it, because like in order to try to not do the blow, they have to completely twist around in the air, and so they kind of tumble to the ground, skidding across the ground and colliding with the base of this creature, where I think you find yourself suddenly further compressed, Pandorum, as you're inside this thing, and it suddenly gets like, like tackled around around the waist. And so I think you can do another move to try to escape as you're about to be squished.
Okay. I think now would be a time for I would like to do a power through darkness and just essentially crumble this thing into, basically take this living being and turn it into a fossilized husk that will eventually collapse, but last long enough for
Okay.
me to get out.
So I let me be clear. Even though it is a simulation, it's being simulated as tough as a real one would be, right? And so that means that it's going to have like a few conditions worth. You're not going to be able to one shot it.
Okay. I mean, that's what I was saying. Power through darkness, doing.
Okay. Well, but
Right.
even that is not going to one shot kill it. Now, it might
Okay.
it might get you clear and do damage to it. I'm just saying you're not going to just be able to say I immediately one shot the giant monster.
Okay.
Right? Like that that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll make a fossilized tunnel out at
Right.
least.
Well, and the other thing is too that as a general, let's try to focus on what you are doing, not what happens as a result.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, that's cool. I like it. I like it in concept. I'm just saying it's not going to completely destroy the monster,
Okay.
even if it works.
So, is that power through darkness or?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, might as well use the darkness.
Okay. Well, that's a miss with a 5, unfortunately. So I think that not only are you going to take a condition as a result of getting basically squished to where I basically, if you were an ordinary person, there would just
I'd
not
be
be a
jelly.
person there anymore.
I'd be
But you're going to you are basically already getting you know compressed by the muscles, but then it just got slammed into by another gargantuan creature. So you're going to take a condition as a result of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll take cornered.
Okay. But what also happens is you all feel a really just sort of profound sense of disorientation and vertigo as you suddenly find yourselves back in the simulation chairs, but hearing a klaxon sounding and red lights flashing in the simulation room.
And Pandorum is like instantly through the back of the chair, kind of in the corner of the room. Just
Yeah. So here's what's happening right now is that as a result of your miss, I am ticking the doomsday clock.
oh no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So first let's go ahead and add a tick there.
And I'm taking some darkness for embodying a condition.
Sure, sure. Yes.
Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Usually you don't get darkness for taking a condition. It's once you've got one.
Embodying it.
Right.
So what
Okay.
what are you doing that embodies it?
My condition is cornered, and I am literally, it's like, alarms going on. I am, literally in a corner, looking around, panic, just.
Okay. All right. So as the darkness token ticks, there is the klaxons is sounding. This is happening for everybody, but I'm going to actually rewind briefly and let's figure out what was happening with Ningle in the meantime, and then we'll come back as you catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So you had gone to go speak with Celine Nakahara.
Yes.
Luna's sister, and we had established that you had a connection with
With Luna, yes, I trained
with
her.
Luna.
I trained her in self-defense, yes, while she was at Division,
Mm-hmm.
before she was posted to Island Zero.
Well, and I think that at that time, you would have certainly been aware that she had a sister
Mhm.
who had just basically refused to undergo the physical training because she was focused much more on spiritual and psychic and magical.
Right. Yeah, she was
progression.
focused on the esoteric. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you make your way through the facility, guided by let's say just another one of these random lab coat dudes. They I have too many windows open. Why do I do this to myself? You are taken through the living quarters area, which you see them, like housekeeping is going through and doing like replenishing of the linens and stuff like that. And so you see into a couple of them that the quarters are actually pretty nice and spacious, but and kind of like a little homier. So like you pass through and you see like people have put like posters on the walls, and you can almost see that like there's a degree to which this is a teenager's bedroom
Yeah,
with
I mean, these are
professional housekeeping.
these are teenagers, albeit
Mhm.
teenagers who can control these
Yeah.
have these bonds with these creatures, but they're still teenagers.
Yeah. So what about the living quarters is beautiful?
Um, I think that these teenagers are, a lot of them are into especially manga and manga art. So there's these posters of all over the place, very colorful, very bold, very brash. Ningle feels like he's back in Japan again. And it's just just trying taking the sights of every single one of these posters that have just been put up everywhere, and all these bright, bright typography and
Mhm.
bold colors, and they they're all loud and intense, and Ningle's just like soaking up in their obvious appreciation for the art.
Okay. So as you are brought to one of these quarters, you see that unlike many of the others, it is very unadorned, and in fact has had some of the more incidental furniture removed. Like there's still a bed there, and there's a desk and a simple chair, but that's it. But there's been like a shrine sort of constructed there. And you can see this kind of through, one of the windows into the corridor. And the attendant leaves you and just, so you can knock basically.
Yeah,
But
and
you
I will knock.
see Celine seems to be knelt before the shrine at prayer.
So I will make it a light knock. I'm not going to go bang, bang, bang. It's almost
Sure.
not quite timid, but respectful, quiet.
So I
Tap, tap,
think
tap.
what happens is that thing where you go to knock, and then just before your hand hits the door, you hear "Come in."
I laughed to myself and opened the door. I should have known.
Hmm. So as you enter, already standing up from where they were kneeling is Celine, which we have on our image here. That she's in a white robe. She looks very much like her sister, with the exception that while Luna has her hair long, Selena's head is shaved almost like a buzz cut. Not completely bald, but just completely short. Um, and she looks older. She looks like she might even be like 5-10 years older, but you
Mhm.
know them to be actually the same age.
Yeah.
And she's wearing kind of a little circlet on her head, these unadorned white robes, and she just stands there and clasps her hands and says, "You've come to find Luna?"
I have. And I move forward enough so that my tail can grab the doorknob and just gently shut the door behind me.
Mm-hmm. I just realized that I was not imagining like a standard door in that way, but I was
Oh.
like in my head. No, it doesn't matter. It's not
Yeah.
important. I'm just in terms of painting the scene. I was
Oh, you're
imagining
thinking like
like Star Trek doors, basically.
oh, you think Star Trek door. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of what I
that-
had in my head, but certainly it doesn't have to be. I don't know. You know what? That's what they are. I'm just declaring it. But
Okay.
in any case, though, she's just standing there and saying, "It's good that they sent you. She knew you."
If I had not been chosen and I found out about it, I would have talked Sarge into letting me come whether she wanted it or not. I was hoping you might provide some help in background information, helping me and the rest of the team find her.
I have been searching the psychic planes and praying, but I have not yet been granted the clarity that I need in order to find her.
I did notice the esoteric wards around the island as we came in. That's all you're doing?
Not all my doing, but I certainly support them. They were in existence before my arrival at the facility, but I do my best to keep them strong.
That alone must be almost a full-time task, given the existence of this island would cause lots of problems around the world if it were known.
It
Shutting out
is
a whole world is hard.
it is not merely full-time in the traditional sense, but literally all the time. I and my fellow psychics here at the facility must always maintain concentration on the wards lest they slip and a Rift-class monster enter the rest of the world, or undue influence come to corrupt the Rift and the Halimar further.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. So we reviewed the situation, what was taped, and it looked like to us that was a case of possession. And when I thought possession, I thought I need to talk to Celine. Not that I wouldn't want to talk to you first off anyway, but I was wondering if this was a case of a magical attack on your sister.
There is something at work here. And I have faith that my psionics will eventually root it out, but I don't believe there is any time to spare, and the stakes are high. Whatever has been done here, taking Luna and her Halimar, seems to have been targeted in such a way as to avoid all of our usual safeguards, which are plentiful and strong. So
And-
it is not a small thing that has been done here.
So you were saying that you were searching the psychic planes for her. You think she was taken off of this plane of existence entirely?
I am not able to penetrate the rift itself.
Not enough power, or not enough power to do so?
The rift leads to a different place where the planes, the energies, even the so-called laws of physics are different. No psychic has ever been able to penetrate the rift from this side. None who have traveled into the rift come out unchanged. But I feel as though if Luna were anywhere else, I should be able to sense her, but I do not. I
So you think
fear
she-
she has been taken into the rift, and yet, even as that is my worry, I don't know how it could have been accomplished.
There are. Ningle stops, thinks a moment. I wonder if I am, as your sister would have told you, mostly muscle and blood, mostly. But at the heart, at my bottom, even though my body has been changed for 3,000 years, I am a creature of another dimension. I'm wondering if there's some way I can help you cast out further for traces of her, lending my energy to yours. A ritual, a prayer, if you will, a benediction to try to seek out traces of, to pinpoint, or basically being a battery, a partner, an adjunct to your, you have the brains, I have the brawn. Let's make lots of resonance. As he gets the song very wrong.
A key, as it were.
Yes, yes. I'm trying not to be very mechanical about it, but yes, that's where I'm going for. I'm trying to grasp a key here.
Sure. She says, "Perhaps it is worth a try," and she holds out her hand and then gestures for you to like come over to the shrine with her.
I will absolutely do so.
All right. So she kneels holding your hand, like, I don't know, like what you, with your snake-like lower body, certainly you could lower your body, but like what is your posture for the equivalent of sitting or kneeling on the floor?
I will lower I will curl and lower myself down to basically the height of where she is sitting. So basically, so that we're even height. I mean, I got enough flexibility to do that.
What are you doing, like, with the extra length of you?
Coiling in a pattern or a spiral, which is very appropriate for a esoteric ritual.
Sure. So I think as she holds your hand and as you're looking at the shrine, she looks to you and she says, "Your nature may provide energy for our search, but it will be your knowledge of her that guides us. Please describe your favorite memory of her and focus on it."
And it's not actually a memory of fighting. It's a memory where we were at, well, thanks to Vision, they had cleared off one of the southern beaches on Staten Island. We were just walking along the beach, and I was showing her the goodness of a Coney Island hot dog, and we were just walking along the beach together, trying to find peace and a moment of respite in her furious training before she was going to go to the island. I wanted to give her a moment that it's not all work and nothing. There is even the small joy of this tube of weird meat and a bun can be delicious. This is a benediction in a way. This is a prayer. This is a offering to the universe that there are good things. Walking or sliding along the beach and enjoying a hot dog and listening to the seagulls on the Staten Island shore. That's my favorite memory of her.
So as you focus on it and try to join Selena in her psychic projections, let's see you grasp some keys.
All right, let's give it a shot.
Wow, look at that.
Perfect hit.
Yeah.
We're rolling hot this week.
Yeah, you are.
Wow.
Well, everyone
Some
but
of
Pandorum.
us.
So I think that you experience this as though you are underwater, but you don't have any difficulty breathing. You are just trying to you're just trying to like navigate, and it's hard to, like, you're not even really aware which direction is up, and you feel kind of lost at first, but you nonetheless realize that you feel just a presence within you, that Selena is here and still guiding you, but you sense yourself as being cast adrift in this sort of endless sea, and you don't know where the surface is. And as you swim, there are strange sorts of clouds here and there in the water. Are you kind of swimming towards those or away?
Towards those.
Okay.
They're the first different thing, so I'm going to investigate them.
So as you kind of swim into one, you feel, in the same way that you're feeling the psychic presence of Celine, you feel what seems kind of like an echo of Luna's psychic presence. And you hear her saying, I can't let anybody know that I'm just terrified, because if they find out, they'll just take me off the mission, and that's the worst thing that could happen. And then it kind of dissipates. But you see other of these clouds kind of nearby.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, if we're still in this contact, I'm gonna go for them. I'm trying to get as much data as I can.
Sure. And so you go into another one, and is just saying, I tried to tell Malika and Catalina that there was nothing to worry about, but I can tell that they are sensing that something's wrong. I just need to be able to get myself together, or else this is going to all fall apart. And just, Luna, come on, you can handle this. You can do this. This is what you were trained for. Just pull yourself together. And then that's what she, you kind of get. And you see sort of one more of these clouds.
Yeah, this is hard. I'm feeling really
Yeah.
really bad for her, and then I start seeing just how much she felt surrounded and constricted. But I need the information, so I'm going to. And it would be wrong for me not to find out what she was thinking. So I'm going to grit my teeth and go for it.
Yeah. So I think that in this last one, you get a little bit more detail, and you get the feeling almost as though you're there watching as Luna is getting into the pod, and you just intuitively know this is the last time she did it before she disappeared. And as she sits in the pod and starts trying to sorry, I'm moving through all my notes. As she sits in the pod and sort of connects herself up, you see that she, as soon as the pod closes, a look of concern crosses her face that hadn't been there before, and she psychically connects through the pod to her Halima Hydra Omicron, and just says, Hydra, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. I promise. It'll be okay. And so your key is evidence of Luna's fears that nobody else knew about.
Okay.
So, like, specifically, I think as you come out of this trance, Selena is looking at you and she says, She shielded this from me.
She shielded it from everyone.
But she shielded this from me. And I think then that's when the klaxons start to...
That's a, the sigh of like, really now?
Yeah, so here, let me put you back on the mystery map here so you can add that the wording of the key. I mean, you can choose to phrase it on the map however you like, but the short version from the list here is messages from Luna never sent that admit to deep-seated fears no one knew she had. Well, and not merely that no one else even knew, but that she was deliberately hiding. Um, all right, and so uh, here is where we are rejoining everyone else as the klaxons are sounding. You hear announcements wherever you were. Announcements are coming over the intercom saying, "Pilots, report to your pods. Pilots, report to your pods. All other personnel, prepare for battle stations. The creature graveyard is the area of impact."
Creature graveyard is like.
Your graveyard.
And then I think specifically you hear after this automated sounding message, you for each of you in the specific areas where each of you are, you hear sort of a crackle of an intercom, and then Fletcher Payne say, "Special visitors, please proceed to the command room. We've got a
Okay.
problem."
All right, head up there.
Yep, I will make my regrets to Celine and go slithering towards the command room in double time.
Okay.
I'll just follow Fletcher there because
yeah.
I was with him.
Yeah, so I think we'll catch up with you in just a moment as we I want to cover too though that as Pandorum and Myron are sort of lurched out of the simulation, you also find yourself like as the doors open, there is a moment where I mean, so Myron, I would imagine you now still look like Luna, right?
Oh yeah, most deaf.
Yeah. So
Aye.
we'll kind of address what maybe you can sort of draw from her thoughts and memories in a moment here, but like right now I think sort of the surface level stuff that you're getting from there is similar to kind of the messages that Ningle was just sort of thinking, and you can probe that more deeply because that's your move gives you that, but I think that in the initial sense is a feeling of like wanting to protect everybody else, but at a fear of what that will mean for her. But as you kind of stumble out of the room, Malika has come out of her room too, and despite the klaxons, she just like storms up to you and says, "What is this? Who are you? Who are you really?" And is going to like grab you by the lapel, like the collar,
Oh,
which I
yeah,
think
yeah.
is gonna like as soon as
Yeah.
they do that, they're gonna like yank their hands off, like, "What is this? Who are you?"
And Pandorum comes out, and he is, with his reshaped by despair for Unleashed in the Dark. He is, near skeleton face, burning scars around his eyes. Says, "We are those who are wishing to solve the mystery of your missing friend."
Um,
And part of the Reshaped by Despair is that I uncover a key at great cost, or I gain their affection and admiration, I gain their fear and loathing, or I see into their soul and declare what I find there.
okay, so what's
And
the name of this one?
Reshaped by Despair.
Okay. Say the first word. I have the list
Reshaped.
alphabetically. Shaped.
Reshaped.
Reshaped. Okay. Sorry. I thought you were saying we're shaped, and I was like, okay. Okay. So you did one. So, I mean, you choose one of those options, right?
Yeah.
Which,
And if it would make sense, I mean, I don't know, like affection, but like kind of understanding that, yes, we are here. We are more than just strangers that have been.
So bear in mind, I'm not telling you not to do this move, but this is not going to be a soothing move.
I know.
Because what it says is causing those around you to despair. So that is going to be the emotion.
Yeah.
But is one of the subsequent options? What are you choosing?
Gain their affection and admiration is. I
Boy.
mean, like, and I don't know if I would. I'm okay if it's not quite affection, but just like,
Well, no,
understanding that
I'm just thinking about how that move works. Because it says causing those around you to despair, and when you do, you can choose to gain their affection and admiration.
I
Like,
mean,
no, and I'm not criticizing you or anything. I'm just trying to figure out how this works in terms of how the character would react, right? Because it's one thing to say you gain their affection and admiration by virtue of having made them despair, right? Like that's. I mean, anyone have thoughts on this? We're all playing a game together. This is what
Yeah,
the text
this
says.
it's a little bit weird, and I'm trying to think.
It's
Oh.
super negging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
negative. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. I would say,
So
given the situation, the fact that they just got out of their pod and saw the person that was missing now standing in front of them, and not necessarily that person, combined with Pandorum's insistence, that might do it.
yeah, so I think maybe what it is when you say that, it seems to sort of break the kind of fixation they had, and they like really understand now this isn't Luna, and it's not Luna doing something. It's not some weird manifestation of Luna. It is someone else who has made themselves look like Luna. And that means that Luna's still not okay. She's still missing, and it's a recognition of that. But she's like, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that, but I guess that makes us on the same side. So, and then she kind of glares at Myron a little bit with a sort of a like troubled expression, but then runs off following the announcements to report to their pods.
Myron walks by a reflective surface on the way following them and kind of goes, "Oh, well, didn't think that's who I'd look like. What does that mean?"
surprised me that much. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some time to dig through this because there's a lot of memories up here.
So I think that I would probably maybe let you grasp keys from those memories at a time when you're not currently being told to report to battle stations. A little too much is happening right now. So everyone is running through, and so we'll catch back up with Lady Dana and Fletcher, who you're already in the command room where he's told everybody else to show up. And what you're seeing is that there are a lot of flashing lights, and on some of the big screens, they have floor plans of the facility with one area that is flashing red. And another screen has been divided up into various surveillance cameras that are showing the one door. One camera is showing the like a big sealed bulkhead door. And this is, big enough that a Halamah could go through it, but it has been closed. But you see it like shaking. And then another camera, there's two cameras that I think are like showing like a disconnected screen, but there is one camera that seems to be at the far side of like a big enclosure that's almost not even really a building. It's almost like when you see those like temporary greenhouses put up, like where there's a frame and it's enclosed, but it's not a complete structure, and you can see
Yeah.
that there's almost a whole field where it looks like there are maybe 9 or 10 giant kaiju dead in various states of decay, some of them covered with their own sort of smaller like enclosures, some of them with like active like excavation dissections underway, like not currently actively being worked on, but you know, it's like this is what happens here. This is what this
Right.
is where they put the dead ones.
Okay.
But the camera from the far side of it is showing that there is a big sort of open spot, and there is a half decayed rift monster that is beating on the door to get into the main facility. What? So one of the ones that is supposed to be dead
He dead is no longer
is
dead.
no longer dead. And let's go around and have everybody supply a detail for this thing. And it can be about what kind of monster it is, or something about it right now, or something it can do. But let's build a giant monster.
It's it has three heads on long necks that are like peering around in different directions. But one of them has been sheared in half, and the whole like side of it is missing from the battle. And another one has had I don't know why I'm going so gory. Just it's jaw ripped out.
That's what
It's-
happens when you face the king of monsters, by the way.
uh,
I would say it also has what would have been two large, like a nice large pair of wings that would enable it to maybe fly for short periods. But now they're torn and ragged and like slightly decayed. So they look almost like not like shrunken headish, but they're definitely like torn tapestry, like broken bones in it. But they're still kind of doing what they're doing. It's almost like they don't realize they're broken.
Hmm. It's definitely got a draconic like tail as well, stretching out from the back. So I think I think we're all kind of thinking like a chimera sort of thing. Like I think we're building here.
Yeah.
yeah. Its claws are are uh sparked with electricity. It
Mhm.
and like basically if it where it goes, if it scratches, it's like almost like a welding, you know, a welder going at the metal.
Let's see. Um, it's bright pink.
All right.
I love it.
So is this like
it's-
hot pink, like Barbie pink?
yeah, like hot Barbie neon pink
Nice.
Is that the color of its hide?
skin. The color of its skin.
What color is its blood?
Electric blue.
Yeah, because this is obviously Malibu Barbie's pet.
It
It likes to be
is.
in its Mojo Dojo Casa Island house.
Mhm.
It's just more of like everything else sounds like so like scary and stuff like that. It's like
Mhm.
I'm going to be funny for a moment.
Leave it to Millie to make it even more disturbing because now
No.
it is a hot pink, terrible zombie monster.
Yep.
Okay, so I think that as you know, the rest of you are making your way up to the command center. You're passing up through the hangar bay where you see all sorts of additional flashing lights happening, and there are a couple of these enormous vats that are now sort of the color of the liquid has changed to be a bit like it's gone from sort of an amber liquid to a little bit more clear, a little bit more green, and is sort of churning with movement inside, and like the surface is sort of sloshing with subtle movements of the enormous creature inside. And you see lots of people racing around and preparing other sorts of equipment. And I think you see a couple of the pilots you haven't met yet already in their sort of flight suits racing up towards where the pods are. But presumably all of you are otherwise making yourself way up to the command deck?
No, as a matter of fact, this undead are definitely something that my day job, when I'm not assigned to this, is the kind of thing that I am dispatched for on a regular basis. So I've actually feel like I'm going to try and get outside and do something about this.
Well,
because
I love that. I want to know how you knew that was happening if you haven't been to the command deck yet.
Oh,
You've
Yeah.
heard the klaxon, but they haven't. They say.
oh, I'm sorry.
They say the area of impact is the monster graveyard, but the detail of the undead creature is only like you wouldn't know that if you hadn't been in the command deck, or at the very least, that is the ordinary way to find that out.
I got a message from Death.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, the boss would want to know, want to have someone to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm headed for whatever direction will take me out to where this thing is.
Okay. I think that probably there are, so you see lots of people running around in various directions, but you do see what look like a unit of Marines in sort of like SWAT gear, with what look like fancy sort of laser rifles that seem
Sure.
to be headed in a direction that's different from where most people are going.
I'll follow them. They
Yeah.
know where they're going.
Okay. So I think as everyone else is getting up to the command deck, then, I think the first step, as Fletcher is telling you, because I think that'll take a couple of minutes. But the first step Fletcher is telling you, Lady Dana, is like, okay, the first thing is we need to get everyone accounted for, and everyone else who always works here knows where they need to go. So that's why we need to get you and your division colleagues all in one place, and then we can find out where we need you. But in the meantime, it seems like we've got a surprise wake-up call from one of our sleepers.
So if this was in a graveyard, and I'm kind of like gesturing at the screen,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it supposed to be dead?
Yeah, that was our assumption. However, we do keep an eye on them, not least because some of them do surprising things while decomposing. But this is our first gets up and starts running around again.
Alrighty. Is this the most recent one to have been engaged before?
No, this one is let's see, and
How long has it been here?
he's pulling up his records. Is like this one has this one was fought when looks like last year. This was Luna's first mission, though.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
This first interesting. So, all right.
So I think maybe we have Pandorum and Ningle and Myron showing up at this point, and Fletcher is kind of, glances around and then just takes a moment and he just says,
Where's
anyone
John?
have eyes on
Yeah.
the
And-
black and white one? He knows
In
your
a-
name. He's just,
And
Yeah.
in a weird double voice where it's the face that I'm wearing, but also Myron's. He's just like, well, there is a giant undead creature floating around, and they have a day job that's not on the book, so to speak. So I'm sure they're near that thing. Mind you, it's still he's saying all this in the form of the missing pipe.
yeah, I was just gonna
Just-
say, like,
just-
you're staying, like, and so I think there is sort of a double take when he sees you and he just says, "That's you, right, Myron?" I did get a
Yeah.
briefing on the stuff that you do, and I have to say, like, this is kind of upsetting.
And-
I hope that it's not for just sheer maliciousness.
I would lie to you if I said the maliciousness was not a part of it, but I did not know. I did not know it would be this face. To be fair and honest, I didn't know it was going to be this face.
Okay, well, you can see how that's going to cause confusion around here.
Yeah, but honestly,
You're still digesting?
no. I'm
No,
not
no,
just
not.
They're
No,
digesting?
that's my job. I'm talking about, and I point to my head.
Yes, I'm definitely still. There's a lot up here, but I think we should get rid of the shambling dead before
we have
sit down
And
with
t-
this.
Okay.
right. How can we get outside to go face this thing, Fletcher?
You're not, for starters. Let's see, and he's like, uh,
Excellent
Wrong
Uh,
answer.
so he's looking on the computer system, and he's like, he brings over one of the other technicians, and he just says, "Find John Deere. He's here somewhere. Find him." And they're looking in the meantime, and so he turns to the rest of you and says, "Look, I know that all of you are powerful, but you're not experienced with this facility or this nature of threat. We have protocols for this. I need you to stay here and accounted for and not cause problems." Like, the worst thing that could happen right now is someone who doesn't know the way we work inserting themselves into the middle of this situation.
I think that's what John Deere just did.
Did.
And Myron's like,
When
well, I mean,
death calls, he must answer.
to be fair, like, yeah, he doesn't know how you guys work, but he definitely knows how death works. So I feel like he's the subject matter expert. And now that I have these memories, I'm slowly becoming an expert. And as he says this, he brandishes a weapon, and it is an Italian dueling saber that's made of dark, terrible energy, and it seems to be screaming softly. And he's like, I'm not saying I'm going to bet my compatriot which one of us can eat that thing first, but
Hey.
I'm going to bet my compatriot which one of us can eat that thing first before John sends it back to where it belongs. So, as much as I would love to say we are not going to get involved, but seriously, once we stepped here, we were involved. And honestly, this is one of the few places we can all have some fun because we can't really get that many civilian casualties to get the boss yelling at us. So,
Really let loose.
yippee-ki-yay, mother lover.
And I think he glances around at the rest of you and just say, like, so is this a doesn't matter what I say sort of situation?
we prefer to have your blessing and help rather than going against your orders.
Myron then quickly jumps in. Hey, Ningle, are you sure about that? Because I fought one of these earlier.
What? Head snap. What?
We're in a simulation. And by the way, Pandorum is still.
Mhm.
What happened to you? I'm looking at Pandorum.
I got stuck inside the monster, and it did not turn out well.
And neither of you invited me.
You will
Right.
see.
I look back at Fletcher. Okay, right. Where's the nearest exit the four of us can go to go join Don Deere?
In fact, considering that the last mission that went out, something went wrong, and you're now missing a pilot and a kaiju, maybe we should be the ones to go deal with this so that you can keep your pilots and assets safe.
He kind of looks around at all of you and then just sighs and then leans over to one of the intercom microphones, presses a button, and just says, "Protocol modification code word wildcard. VIPs on the field, be aware. Watch where you step."
Myron leans over and says, I knew you had a contingency. You're always so well prepared. Now it's in the voice of the missing pilot.
Oh God,
Oh.
that is
Mm.
creepy.
He kind of.
Myron, don't tease.
To be fair, it's hard. I don't know which one of these are my memories. So we'll figure it out
you're
at
a
some
simp.
point.
Pandorum is going to grab Myron and move towards the door.
Right.
All right. So there is a floor plan like map on one of these screens. So I think from looking at that, you can kind of know approximately the direction to go. So you're all heading out together, I guess, or
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So in the meantime, John, you have followed these Marines who have stationed themselves, covering a lot of the sort of hallway intersections leading towards the monster graveyard area. But certainly you have been hearing, getting louder as you make your way in this direction, the sort of doom, 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 like groaning, creaking metal. So I feel like you have a good indication that you're moving in approximately the right direction there. But I think the first time you are going to try to pass by one of the places that these commando groups have set up, you're gonna find yourself questioned.
Okay.
So
How does
perhaps
this-
we can role play. Hey, what are you doing? Where do you think you're going?
I'm a Reaper. This is my job. Out of my way.
Uh,
I am going to use my supernatural strength and speed to just go past him.
okay. Go ahead and let's do a roll for that. Not
All
that
right.
I think you are incapable, but in terms of how well it goes and how they react and so on.
Okay. I'll spend 1 token for this.
Okay. Okay.
7.
So that's a 7. That's it's a miss, but it could be one bond could make it a perfect hit.
Let me see what the consequences of a failure are here. Hold on. Unleash the dark. Find myself in a desperate position. I'm not sure what kind of desperate
Well,
position I could be
it's-
in here.
I
so-
think that basically there's a variety of things that can happen, right? Like I have a lot of leeway. It doesn't always have to
Yeah.
be that like they do something. It could be something
Okay.
else happens. It just means that what you're trying to do does not go well for some reason.
Okay. Okay, I'm actually not going to spend it because this isn't a critical thing.
Okay. So on a 7 minus, what it says is you have greatly underestimated them. The keeper will describe the desperate position you find yourself in. And I think as you shove your way past them, your physical strength is certainly enough that they are initially taken off guard and kind of like shoved aside as you move on. And I think what happens afterwards is that you uh, suddenly find yourself shot in the back by several especially calibrated laser rifles that do not like they're not destructive bolts, but you find yourself like suddenly enmeshed in like a weird like laser bolo that is wrapped around you and like pinned your limbs together. And you find yourself suddenly tripped, tied up by these weird sort of electrical lassoed bolts, just as you hear the crunch and groan and creak of an enormous metal door blasting open, and fire begins pouring down this hallway.
Oh boy.
I would like you to take a condition for getting fire breathed on while you're tied up.
Okay, I'll take vicious.
Okay. So that it is clear now that the door has failed. I guess I said fire. I think probably lightning is what had been established for this creature. So I
Yeah.
think you discover that, you know, with their focus on you, these soldiers were less totally prepared for a bunch of lightning to zap down this corridor. So,
Yeah.
um, I think, you were surprised by them actually firing on you with something that had the ability to like
Yeah.
detain
Okay.
rather than just harm. Um,
Yeah.
but so now what? What's your reaction?
Um, uh, uh, with my hands, what what was the effect of the lightning on these fellows?
I think that they are. They're not all dead, but it is a substantial shock. They like a lot of them are sort of laying down,
They've all been
not
tased.
moving, kind of smoking. Some of them are like crawling back out of the way. Like this was like this is a big hit, but the ones that are able to are now like trying to take up position from cover beyond the nearest like hallway corner, and starting to fire back in the direction of where that came.
Release me, you fools! This is my specialty.
Well, I think they've got their focus elsewhere now, but you
Yeah.
can certainly try something to escape and move forward.
Yeah, I'm going to take 3 darkness tokens for having told them to release me,
Mm-hmm.
and I will spend 2 unleashing the dark to try and break free.
All right. Okay. Well.
All right, fine. I will spend a bond.
I was going to
Spend one
say,
to
like the
let the
lightning
darkness.
actually supercharged the their little plasma bolts.
I'm going to spend one of the bonds with what the darkness demands. I
Okay.
think that's appropriate, and burst free of their
Okay.
bonds.
And I think I don't want to push on this too hard, but like in terms of drawing from what the darkness demands of you, the fact that these guys interfered with you and now some of them are dead, and and pushing through this, like, is there does this make you cold, or does this make you like angry?
I'm vicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this is typical ignorance at work. Um, and it does not occur to him that not everybody in the facility would have been briefed on exactly who he is. He's feeling a little self-important right
Yeah.
now.
All right. Well, so I think with that bond making it a perfect hit, you are certainly going to succeed in your in freeing yourself, which I think would probably, I'll say, that would be like maybe the get what you want from them, sort of, or gain the upper
Um,
hand for now, or
yeah, I get what I want from them. That is, get free
yeah.
and avoid reprisals, harm, or cost.
Okay. Yeah. So you're able to free yourself from them and make your way. I'm guessing closer in the direction of where this lightning
Well, the
blast is.
thing is, yeah, I want to get basically eyes on the creature.
Yeah. So I think from like as you're a little bit dazzled from the brightness of that lightning, as that clears, you see that this enormous door that leads to the monster graveyard has had part of it like bent away from the frame. So it's not like completely open, but it has left this big gap where this strange hot pink draconic head has leaned itself in and breathed the lightning. Um, but you see claws with sparking trying to push the door and like open it further, but it's also like half rotten with decay, and you see like
Mhm.
these other damaged heads sort of reeling around in the background.
I am going to use my death walked here
Uh-huh.
move to try to understand its uh, nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a disastrous success.
Oh boy. All right.
Um, so uh,
I would take two
uh,
bonds to get it down to a perfect hit.
yeah, that's all I have, and I'm not going to spend them.
Okay.
I will say
Yeah.
uh,
So you still
uh,
get to choose one from the good list.
yeah. What glimpse of these events can you show me is what I'm going to
Okay.
take, and I will mark a condition as my
Okay.
payment there.
Yeah. All right. So
And
let's
I'm
see.
marking obsessed.
Sure. Yeah, I think that just the scope and scale of this thing, it's not merely that the body is big,
Mhm.
it's that the the soul of it feels large and alien in a way that you're really not used to. And
Mm.
so you said what glimpse beyond these events can you show me? Is that what you?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I picked. Yeah.
Right. Um yeah, so I think that hmm
Well, would it make it easier if I said what evidence we would accept would advance my
oh
investigation?
no, that I'm just thinking what's a fun thing. Um yeah, so I think that what you discover is that the soul of this thing is not like mortal souls in the way that there is sort of an energy that bonds with a physical body and then is separated from that body at the body's death and then goes on to another journey elsewhere.
Uh-huh.
That instead these rift creatures' souls are really kind of the entity's primary form, that is made physical when it goes through the rift, suggesting that on the other side of the rift, they don't have these forms. They don't look
Oh.
like this.
Ah.
They become these forms
When they come through the rift.
when they come through the rift.
Okay.
And so what that also means is that when they are killed here, usually there is not anything like a mortal soul that then goes on to somewhere else. They are destroyed, but that energy, something must happen to it. And that's the thing that you are intuiting here, is that normally the energy must go somewhere and you're not sure where.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they're killed, they're separated, like it doesn't have anywhere else to go, and it's being prevented from going back into the rift. So something else must usually happen to it, and it would appear that in this case, whatever that is has been like prevented or reversed in some way.
Okay. So in other words, this reanimation is not intrinsic to the monster. This is something that was caused to happen.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so like the monster, there's nothing special about this monster's own form or abilities that allows it to resurrect itself. It's something that theoretically could happen to any of them. You don't necessarily know why this one, why now, but it's that usually you would need to know more about maybe what usually happens, but you know in this case that whatever the normal process is has been either prevented or reversed in this case.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
do you feel like that is?
Yeah, that's an adequate answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the kind of thing I was looking for.
Okay.
Um,
So I think as you stand there intuiting all of this and finding yourself somewhat obsessed, staring
Mhm.
at its form and feeling the volume of the spiritual energy here, I think that you are perhaps um, making yourself a little bit vulnerable in such a way that when it, with another lurch, manages to send a piece of this enormous door flying in your direction, you don't see it immediately and are going to need to react quickly as it flies towards you.
okay. Yeah, I'll spend my last darkness token um, on a unleash the dark to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Ooh, boy. Okay. So who was it that was talking about how well everyone was rolling earlier?
I do believe it was
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Nicholas.
But
Yeah.
that's a miss. So I think in this so in this instance, what I'm actually going to do, um, it's basically just I don't think I'm not gonna make you take another condition right now. You've just taken
Okay.
two, but I think as as it sort of just this piece of the door just sort of slams you against the wall in a way
Yeah.
that, like, once again, if you were a normal person, you would not be a normal person anymore. But you are, made of sturdier stuff. But what I'm
Mhm.
actually going to do as a consequence of that miss is tick the doomsday clock again.
Oh no.
Okay. And so, in this moment, this split second of recognition that it is only through the intervention of your sort of supernatural patron that you're not, paste smeared against the wall here.
Mhm.
I think that there is a flash of intrigue that is shown not so much to you as much as to the viewers, but there is somewhere a throne, an enormous throne made from the bones of rift monsters. And you feel a volcanic rumbling under the feet, and resisting what the Harbinger desires. And a voice, "Soon you will have no choice, I'm afraid." And the other thing that happens immediately at that point that you and everyone else does see is suddenly all of the power goes out at the headquarters. Just yeah, and so I think this is a situation where everything goes dark for a split second, and there's and then like red emergency light sort of kicks on,
Mhm.
but then and then that goes out too. So now it's dark. So I think the rest of you were on your way down to where the where this was all happening, but now the power has gone out.
The slight glow comes from Pandora's eyes,
Yeah.
and uh, and he pulls out basically a cell phone with and turns on flashlight from it,
Mm-hmm.
so there's actually some illumination.
All right.
I sigh and I just pull out my weapons of light, and that will shed enough light for everyone to see. I'm already angry, so I just flood the area with celestial holy light, and just keep moving forward,
Yep.
trusting
Alright.
my companions. I don't know if I was in front. I might have been in front.
Nice.
Trusting my companions will move with me, or as I move the light towards the exit, because things have
Right.
gotten really serious now.
We don't
Yeah.
hear you, Millie.
I will follow as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think the rest of you can sort of make your way. You're certainly still able to follow sounds of raspy roaring, electrical crackles, metallic banging and clanging, and shouts of alarm as you make your way in that direction. And I think also the blasts of these sorts of these sort of laser rifle type of weapons that they have. But so I think the first sight you would probably come across is looking down a long hallway at some of these soldiers sort of, taking, from cover behind around corners, firing, and you watch the bolts as they are striking and apparently just annoying the hot pink serpentine heads illuminated by the flashes of these laser blasts. Um, and I think a couple of maybe flares have been tossed down the hallway, and so are giving some light. But you have more light of your own, so some of them are, glancing at you. But the monster has their full attention, as it looks like it's maybe getting ready to push further through this door.
I've had a bunch of time. I'm gonna let somebody else
Friends,
take the
friends,
hit
it
for a
is
little
time.
while.
Yeah,
It's
I was
time
going to
to
say,
get
you
angry.
also see a big piece of the door that seems to have been scraped up and stuck against one of the walls nearby.
I don't. Well, we don't know John Deere's behind it.
Not yet. Yeah,
Not yet.
it won't be long, but I just want
Yeah.
you to have an opportunity to do something.
Right. I'm going to hold up a hand to the soldiers to ceasefire for a moment and just go slithering towards the exit and the giant 3-headed pink monster of doom with my weapons out.
Okay.
Pick on someone more your size, I shout.
All right. So you're attacking? I'm not going to make you roll to go through. It's a different situation than it was a minute ago.
I think this is unleashing the dark through anger and violence.
Yeah.
So I get 3 darkness tokens right away for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I unleash the darkness, through my swords of light that I'm going to try to chop at this creature to at least get away enough from the door that my 3 companions can do something with that,
Mm-hmm.
and join me in on the fun. So let's unleash the dark. Okay, let's put in tokens and
Okay, look at that.
Perfect hit.
hit. So, with that perfect hit, you can choose 2 from the list.
all right. I'm going to get past the defenses and inflict a condition and get what I want from them. What I want from them is to back away enough from the door so that I and the others can get out.
Okay. Oh, so that you can move back. So you're keeping it from entering the facility proper. You're sort of trying to get it to retreat back temporarily.
Right. So that. Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So right to
Yeah.
give space for others. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that the condition that you give it is frustrated, as it as what are you slashing at it with the sword?
Yeah. I've got,
All right.
I am dual wielding and slashing out.
So I think you discover, perhaps to your dismay, to your frustration, that it is difficult to chop the head off of something when its neck is 15 feet thick.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fair.
But you sure do slash its neck quite a bit, and it doesn't like it, and you are spattered with what smells like rotten old blood.
And it's blue.
And
Yeah.
it's blue. But there's a snarl and a groan from the door as the creature's weight is removed from the door, and it sort of pulls its head back through that hole that it made for a moment.
Good. Space for others to get in on this.
Yeah. I think Pandorum is gonna try his cannon trick again.
Okay.
Maybe actually pull it off this time.
Well, yeah, it worked kind of last time.
You got the beta test it and
Yeah.
didn't even invite me.
Okay, so you're setting this up for someone else, or you're using it
For
on
myself.
yourself? Okay. All right. And so this is once again trying to like phase through it and end up on the other side, or?
I think basically, gonna try and basically just go. Would I have to face through the door to get kind of a center of mass on it?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, tell me what it is that
Basically,
you're trying to hit
My-
it with yourself.
yes, trying to hit it with myself.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think you can use your powers to try that.
Okay.
I think center of mass would probably require facing through the door.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you
how-
can't really see it. You can launch yourself through the hole that it just backed out of.
Okay, so I'll launch at the heads and basically try and just grab one of the heads and
Okay.
you know
Well, you know what? How about this? This is an example because it is such a monstrous creature. I will allow you to do the power through darkness to try to have a bigger effect on this creature. But again, at the risk of more severe consequences if it doesn't work.
sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay, disastrous success. All right. You are on the edge of disaster. So you can either mark a condition to exert better control of your powers, or let the keeper tell you how the situation is not under your control.
be my thoughts?
Hmm?
Hmm. I think I'm going to use bonds with Ningle.
Okay.
Do it.
Oh,
Bring-
so I mean, this is a 13, so you do need to get it down to a 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Spend
Right.
2 bonds.
So I mean, you need 3 to 12 to 11 to 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well. Uh, okay. Not gonna do that.
I mean, you can just mark a condition. That's easy
No
enough.
market condition.
Okay. So what condition do you mark as this? This is going to go really well, but it's going to take something out of you.
Merciless.
Merciless. Okay. I think that you launch yourself with a speed, an incredible speed, and as you are flying through the hole in the wall, right at one of its heads, you manage to grab the head in with a force that as your velocity takes you past it, you not only yank the whole creature physically backward, like onto its back, but you end up tearing off that head. Now, this is not its like main fully intact head at this point, but you tear off a big chunk of this thing that's the size of a grain silo. um, and it's going to take another condition of frightened, um, as you sort of like have pulled it back onto its butt basically and ripped one of its heads off.
Okay. That's a good.
Okay. Um, who's next?
Well, now that there's definitely something of an opening to go into,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'll start going past the area, like start heading to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Now John doesn't have any sort of scent or anything, right?
I think that there's a definite scent about John.
Oh, a scent of death. Yeah. It's like,
Mhm.
wait, what's that doing here? Because I'm obviously not seeing like blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to unleash the darkness to like use my body and my hair and everything to pull the door off of who I think might be underneath.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna use a darkness and click to roll. 9,
Okay,
perfect hit.
Yeah, so not only do you sort of detect where he must be, but you're able to use your hair to sort of pry the chunk of metal away from the wall, revealing where John has been sort of pressed into a divot in the wall.
John-shaped space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if this were a Hellboy movie, John would say, ow.
Yeah.
Yeah, John definitely says ow.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cock my head and go, didn't expect to see you in such dire straits. And it's going to have a bit of a petty tone because that's one of my ways of gaining darkness. I'll take
Yeah.
3 because it's really frickin' petty of me to do that right now.
And I feel unimportant, so I'm going to take 3 tokens too.
All right. So, Myron, how about you?
Myron has been sitting there and kind of watching things and letting the cacophony of these memories flow into his head. And he realizes that, like, if it's trying to get in here, what is it trying to get to? Because we've been here all day, or maybe multiple days. And what else is here? The fighter is missing. Their kaiju is missing. So what in here would it be going for?
Hmm.
So Byron would like to take the time to be slightly less atrocious with his presence and see if he can figure out what some of these memories are.
Okay, so you're sort of trying to dig through your own memories to try to see if you can understand anything about why this might be happening.
Yeah, because on the surface, he doesn't understand why it would be here. Like we came here to find someone who was already missing,
Right.
and we haven't really uncovered a lot. But now it's attacking, so either someone's trying to distract us, or this could be some secondary effect.
Sure. So I guess that's probably a grasp key, is trying to pour through and sort the memories and feelings of this image that you have absorbed.
And it's probably going to be hard. But I got some bonds. It's fine. So yeah, try that.
Well, I mean, in theory, it's not a more difficult roll than any other. It's kind of all the same dice.
Yeah.
But still. Okay, look at that. That's an 8. It was a perfect hit.
Wow.
I think that you see, I had an idea that what it was going to be, and now I'm. I think that you. I think that as you are specifically looking for memories associated with, like, this whole situation, you find a memory of Luna standing in a part of the monster graveyard, looking down through a hatch that reveals a whole nother level below it, where she sees an apparently dead. And so bear in mind, you're knowing things that Myron wouldn't know here, but that Luna knew in her own memory. And she is seeing a dead monster that would appear to be the same as her own Halima. But she knows that her own Halima is back in its vat. And curled up against its face is an apparently dead copy of her. So she is looking down at what seems like it is another her and another one of her Halimas dead.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the key is discarded clones of Luna and Hydra Omicron.
Wow. So Byron kind of looks at the situation that's happening, or views the situation that's happening, and sees his friends in not dire straits, but obviously fighting a kaiju-sized event.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately lets it go and turns to our wonderful benefactor, our liaison to this place.
I mean, Fletcher is not here. He did not come down with
No.
you to. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
No,
Oh, who is in charge in this room?
he has a
with us?
limp and uses a walking stick. He doesn't. He's not going to go down where the giant monsters are fighting. You guys are the super monsters.
Yeah.
And so he's like,
Mhm.
so wow, okay. And he kind of just harumphs, so to speak. And he's like, I thought this would have been more fun. I mean, teasing to be accurate, but doesn't seem to be going too well. Although, trying to see what the Sarge and Mr. Fletcher are hiding, that might actually be fun.
I mean,
So-
I think you don't have you don't have another move right now. I mean, I think.
Oh
that
no,
that-
no, no, not at
yeah.
all.
But-
And he's just looking at my compatriots fighting and dealing with this thing.
Mhm.
I have terrible plots. Terrible plans.
All right, so I think it would probably be your move again, your turn, John.
Yeah. I am actually in the middle of this battle. Going to accept Lady Dana's help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use a reveal your heart move.
Oh.
And I'm going to spend 3 darkness tokens. And I'm saying that is the worst zombie I've ever dealt with, and I've dealt with a lot. Well, 13 with a disastrous success.
Moment of closeness, but also weakness.
Yep. And how do I scare you at this moment, Lady Dana? And I'm going to gain a bond with darkness.
Right. How do you scare me? The fact that you seem to be so unsure of what's going on is a bit frightening. I will say that, because
Okay.
you're the death expert and you're going, I haven't seen anything like this. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this might be more serious than I thought it was going to be. This might actually be a danger to us, so that definitely scares me.
And you also get to choose either basically you can tell me how many darkness tokens I have or gain a bond with darkness. What's darkness demands of you.
I'll take a bond with what the darkness demands as well, because I can use another bond.
Sure. So, how does John? You need to say how Lady
Yeah.
Dana scares you at this moment.
She's seen me in a moment of weakness. That's pretty scary for somebody like John.
Yeah, you're not used to having to be rescued even a little bit.
No, yeah, that's not me.
There's even a piece of you could have gotten out, but you weren't fast enough to do it before someone else helped you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think, that we have a slightly awkward moment, intimate but tenuous between Lady Dana and John Deere there. In the meantime, we've got Ningle and Pandorum in there with an enormous creature that is rolling over to get back to its feet and attempt to squish the people who have just heard it.
I have a move for this that I'm finally going to get to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go fly up, change my weapons into my blades into basically a warhammer, and I'm going to use the move "Come on, tough guy."
All right.
When you go up against a colossal and otherworldly opponent, tell everyone how you taunt them and keep their attention, spend darkness tokens, and roll. So basically, now that I have this warhammer, I'm going to start wanging on its head to get its attention and basically make its day unhappy and hopefully injure it enough that my companions can get to their feet and start attacking it
Sure.
without issue. So I'm gonna play whack. I mean, it's kind of like I've been playing up BG3. It's kind of like I've changed my spiritual weapon into a warhammer this time, and go wham. I'll
All
try
right.
to see what happens.
Okay. Well, that's a
That is a
7.
miss.
But
Okay, I've got bonds.
All
Let's
right.
see. I'm going to use my bond with, since I'm fighting with Pandorum at the moment, I'm going to use my bond with Pandorum to bring that up to an 8 because I'm trying to help him give him a chaperone another his weird
Yeah.
fastball things he's doing. So I will
Sure.
spend the bond to make it an 8.
Great.
So-
So that means that you can choose 2 from that list of 3 on the move.
Okay, I'll inflict 2 conditions on them, but take 1 in return.
Okay.
And we're kind of low on keys and
I mean, you're not really. We just got a 4th one, so if you get one now, it'll be a 5th one. Which I'm not saying you don't need keys. I'm just saying I wouldn't call that
Yeah,
low on keys.
right. So okay. So I'm gonna go give my allies a golden opportunity. Choose one allies, give it one bond with them. I'll be Pandorum, so it's kind of a wash on that point. So
Mhm.
the creature gets 2 conditions, but I get 1 in return as I'm whacking at this.
Okay.
thing.
So wait. So you're not doing the key. You're doing the
No,
other.
I'm gonna do the other one. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So you're gonna give. So here's the thing. Pandorum's golden opportunity is going to be for something else because by inflicting 2 more conditions on this creature, you're going to finish it.
Okay.
Hey, I'll take
um,
the golden opportunity for something else.
yeah. So let's see. What condition are you taking though, in
Okay.
return? So like I'll let you just tell me how you finish this thing off with your hammer, but in doing so,
I'm
take
gonna
a
I'm,
condition.
I'm gonna go with obsessed because this because I ever since I got here I'm worried about Luna and I've been thinking about her, but now I'm obsessed with trying to find her, maybe even to going to the rift. So I'm going to take the condition obsessed, and I basically use that warhammer to basically beat each of its heads into undead pulp, and that finally kills the circuits that are keeping it going. I just
Okay.
go. So I am just a flurry of activity that basically uses brute force to turn into pulp.
Right. Okay. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do to flavor all of this for now is that so Pandorum, you see Ningle go up for what at first looks like it's going to be an alley-oop for you, but then just kind of turns into wham, 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 wham. It's not moving anymore. Wham, wham, wham. It's really starting to kind of come into pieces. Wham, wham, wham. And it's just increasingly like, okay, well, no, you don't, this doesn't require your participation anymore. But I think part of what happens is that one of these last blows sends it sprawling in a way that its claw sort of scrapes along the ground. Like, there's soil of a sort out here on the ground because it's kind of like an outdoor enclosure rather than part of the inside of the building, if you follow me. But as its claw scrapes along right by where you're standing, I think you can kind of sort of easily like just move out of the way as it goes by. But you see that one of the claws has left like a groove in the ground. And then just before it stops moving, the claw kind of tinks off of something else. And you see that it has just like the claw has just scraped all of the soil off of what looks like a hatch that could like a submarine hatch, like you could turn a wheel and then open a door that's in the floor here.
Wow. that looks like a golden opportunity, and who am I to not take a golden opportunity?
Yeah. But I think what I'm actually going to suggest, though, you know what? Let's see. I am going to pull a Lost, and I'm going to say that you go to open the hatch, and just as you're opening it, that's where we're going to end.
Ah!
Oh,
So I think that you have defeated the undead pink three-headed dragon thing. Good job. You've uncovered a few more keys.
Yay.
Let's get the we can get the new key on the map. We didn't have
Yes.
added yet the discarded
Discarded
clones
clone.
of Luna and Hydra Omicron.
Yeah, that's
Hmm
Mhm.
something that like. Wait, what?
Yeah. So, we can add that on, but then otherwise, I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for
We
listening.
need to do XP.
Yes.
Yep.
So I guess here's the question: is we're definitely going to do that. How do you all feel about whether that should be an on-stream or off-stream thing?
I mean, it's part of the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Part of the
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and do that first then, before we finish the stream for tonight.
We forgot to do impulses at the beginning.
It's true. I always forget
Oh.
that. I'm so
Yeah,
excited to get
I
jump back in.
selected mine.
I selected one too.
Okay.
I,
So you can
I did
say
a couple weeks ago, so
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so then let's start with John. What was your impulse for tonight?
I'm going to leave it as what it was last time. Did you give into the temptation of living and indulge in either pleasure or vice? I did not.
Hmm.
I don't think.
Right.
Did I express my monstrous nature? I express your humanity. I think I did.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
Did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending ruin? I think that getting the snot beat out of me definitely
Mhm.
definitely pushed me
Well,
in
the
that
other
direction.
piece.
But
Yeah. Well, the other thing that
Mm.
I'll offer there is maybe there's a little bit of a recognition of how quickly your sort of affection or care about these other people turned when they just inconvenienced you for a moment.
yeah, that's absolutely there. Did I learn something significant about a fellow monster? Um, the only one I really interacted with was Lady Dana, but I think we had a
Yeah,
moment
it was
there.
more the other way around.
Hmm.
Yeah, but and I did uncover a key, so I don't mark ruin.
There you go. Okay. So, Lady Dana.
Alrighty, so for my impulse, I marked, did you protect someone pure and beautiful?
Hmm.
Oh, definitely protected John, and
He's not pure, but is he beautiful?
well, there's a beauty in death.
But, you know,
Even
beauty is
highway.
in the eye of the beholder, they say.
Yep. Did express your monstrous nature and or express your humanity. Yep. Moving hair in front of a bunch of normal humans is definitely
Mhm.
looking like a monster.
Well, I
Um,
also taking the time to look for and help your friend and when there's an
Yep.
active giant monster fight happening.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Did I learn something significant about myself? Not really this time around.
Mm.
Did I learn something something significant about a fellow monster? Yes, John. John can get scared, and that is in and of itself is scary. And I did not uncover a key. So
So
one
here's the
ruin.
thing. What we did last time is you did discover a key last time, but since everyone else didn't even really have a chance,
Oh,
we kind
okay.
of allowed
That's right.
everybody to not have to. So if you want to count your one that you did last time, that's
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Ooh, and I have enough experience to do something, so I'll figure that
Ooh.
out.
All right. Well, how about Pandorum next?
Okay, my impulse was did you find an innocent target for your grief, despair, or fear?
Yeah.
And I think I did that with the Malika. Kind of did a showed her what kind of monster I was.
Sure. Yeah. Certainly, she is in a traumatic state right now.
You traumatized her, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was potentially not
And
aided.
did you?
I don't know. It's complicated. But you have certainly inserted herself into the emotional processing process. Okay, cool.
Did you express your monstrous nature and/or express your humanity? Yeah, very much.
You tore the head off of a giant chimera.
Yeah. Did you learn something significant about yourself and/or your impending ruin? I'm gonna say no,
Yeah.
because mostly what I did was just variations on what I already have.
Okay.
Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? I think I learned that Myron doesn't have as much control as he really should. Because if he had, in the simulation, if he had more control, he probably would have ended a lot more cleanly. And
Clean? No.
It's like, who wants it to be clean?
well, less.
No,
with
well, fair. Yeah, we're just teasing, of course.
Did you uncover at least the key of the apocalypse or attempt to unlock Doom's door? No, and I had enough of a chance. So,
did someone want to add the that last key onto the map? I mean, I will if no one else wants to, but
Well,
just
who?
it was
discovered it?
Jason uncovered it.
That was the
It was
clones.
Yeah,
Yeah, the unused.
But then the clones.
discarded clones of Luna and Hydra Omicron. All right, that was everything for Pandora,
yep,
right?
that's right.
Great. All right, how about you, Ningle?
Okay, my impulse was that I learned something significant about my prophecy. No, I was hoping maybe something with Celine, but things didn't go well thanks to the Doom's Door thing, the Doom Clock. I expressed my monstrous nature and/or expressed humanity. I did both. I expressed my humanity talking about and remembering my time with her sister, and my monstrous nature in going completely batshit on the machine on the undead kaiju. So yes, so did I learn something significant about myself or impending ruin? No. Did I learn something about a fellow monster? I mean, I saw new tricks from Pandora, but I didn't see anything. But I didn't see John Deere behind the door, so I didn't see his vulnerability. So I gotta say that's a no for that. Did I
Okay.
uncover a key? Yes. So I get 1 XP out of this whole deal.
All right. Okay, you're up, Myron.
Let's see. Impulse. Did you use emotions or memories to create a cruel advantage? Oh, must have. I'm still wearing that memory, in fact. Did you express your monstrous nature or your human? Yep. Did you learn something significant about yourself and/or your impending ruin? No, I did not. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? Yeah, John doesn't like his territory trampled upon. Death is his domain. Did I uncover a key? I did. I found the clones. I wonder if we could give them a Turing test and see if they'll help the turtle.
No.
But so, yeah.
All
so
right. So, great job, everybody, and good to be back in action. So hopefully that will resume. Although holiday season in general is always a bit fraught, but we will see. So we will return next time for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
So many levels.
There's another level below the monster graveyard. Oops. I want to